Hi, everyone. My name is Chris Bunk. I am the VP of Engineering at Even Financial. I have a background in engineering, and I have worked across industries as different as aerospace, e-commerce, media, and now fintech. Even Financial, I was really drawn by the amount of impact, the amount of value that they could apply to the ecosystem that is out there. We reach out to various people that have financial products that are out there, and we connect them with users that are looking to search for, compare, and discover financial products, everything ranging from personal loans to savings accounts to credit cards that are out there. And it's an interesting system that is out there, and when I was thinking of a unique topic to go present out here and was thinking about the type of people that would be at API World, I thought that it was a very good area to focus on something a little bit more on the product and business side of things, and then bring it back to some of the things that APIs could do. So first, before going into this topic, I just want to set up a couple definitions that are out there so we're all talking about the same thing. First off, a two-sided marketplace. Two-sided marketplaces have users at both ends. The most common example of it is people with something to sell with people who want to buy it, but it doesn't necessarily need to be that way. Some examples of these, Airbnb, Etsy, ITA, and they have a lot of interesting examples out there. A three-sided marketplace, for the purposes of this discussion, is a B2B two-sided marketplace, which means there's business users on both sides of it, where one of the sides of the business users are somebody that is essentially have users or the attention of users on their end of the spectrum. So an example of that would be a pretty much any ad tech network that's out there. Another example, of course, would be Even Financial in terms of what we're doing out there. Just to quickly ask the audience here, how many of you currently or have ever worked at a two-sided marketplace company? Just by a show of hands. As I would expect, most people raising their hands out here. Out of curiosity, does anybody think that they might work at a three-sided marketplace? Almost as many hands that come up here. Great. I think I picked a good topic. To give you just an idea of what a two-sided marketplace or three-sided marketplace could essentially work with, I thought I'd use Even Financial as just an example real quickly here. On one end, we have what we call our supply partners. These are the people with the attention of the users that are out there in the marketplace. On the other side, we have our demand partners, which are various financial institutions, maybe fintech startups that are out there that are trying to sell their product out into the marketplace. By coming together at a marketplace platform, a two-sided marketplace that are going out there, they have far more ability to be able to efficiently go reach out and connect the people that they actually want out there, creating more economic value and allowing both sides to win. I want to talk a minute about bad user experiences out there. I'd like everybody just to take one moment and think about, in the last month or two or year, a really bad experience you had online while going to a website. We've all had them. One where you just like stuck out in your head and went, oh my gosh, how could this even be on the web and be an important site that's out here? So I did that myself. I tried to think of, in recent times, what are some of the worst experiences I've had out there? The first, clickbait advertising or any other really crappy banner ad that you see on a site. Flashing, come get this now, lose 30 pounds without dieting, that kind of example. It riddles the internet. It is a poor user experience. Users out there have pretty much tuned out to that type of banner ad on a site for the most part, and you're almost just relying on somebody accidentally clicking on it out there to be able to then go create some value by connecting them to some service, and typically they're not that strong. Another one, government tools. I probably don't need to sell anybody on this, but Whether you're talking about shopping for, insurance, or in this particular example, it was filing state business tax or something like that. Website looked like it was from 1970. The amount of hoops I had to jump through to go through that was just ridiculously painful. Another one that came to mind, patient portals. You go log into your doctor, need to go look at some test results or schedule an appointment. I, even as somebody with a computer engineering background on one patient portal experience, could not figure out how to get logged in and registered on the site, even with resetting of passwords and all this kind of stuff, which means there's a good chance most of their users did. The big common thread we have across all these examples is there is, besides a lack of motivation to be able to care about the user, there's often a layer of separation between the person that essentially crafted this experience and the users that would eventually use it. So going back to that definition we talked about earlier in the presentation, with three-sided marketplaces, when you have them out over into the space, what you have is one side as a business, another side of the business, and you're connecting them. Very often there is a consumer end user element in one of those sides of that business to business. And when that happens, that is a three-sided marketplace. And if you make the same mistake that these type of sites did and many other models out there of going, listen, I only have the two sides that I have to care about, they're the ones that are paying there, and you don't really hone in and focus and think about the user, you are missing out on a lot of opportunity for tight execution. When we came into the space, even financial, and we took a look at how people were finding and discovering financial products out there, sure, there were some decent experiences where somebody went, oh, I want a savings account. What are some banks that might offer that? And either going into the site or going on a website and checking it out and seeing what that is. Very inefficient, though. You had to go to all the major banks to be able to go figure it out. I remember when I went and wanted to try to find a mortgage, they forced me to sit through a 30-minute sales pitch, essentially, with some banker on the other end, just to tell me what an interest rate on a mortgage was. And so the state of things were largely lead gen. There was sites out there that were going out and giving, hey, get a 3% loan for as much money as you want. There were things that were going out there, clicking users off of whatever media site they might have been on to another affiliate site where they would go look at some of these offers that would then click them to another site to be able to complete the acquisition. The state of things was very, very, very poor for the user. Whenever we see this pattern happening, think opportunity to create value. That's where even financial came in. We said, listen, we can create an API out there. We could go connect with partners on one side that have the products in there, get them integrated to us with APIs, and then on the other end, with the consumer side, be able to go and then connect them to the various media sites out there in the world that have the trust and respect of their users, or coming up when users are searching for how to pick the best personal loan or something of that sort that's out there. So how do you execute? How do you make sure you're not one of those bad examples that we talked about if you find yourself in one of those situations where you're in there? Well, you have to give users an equal seat at the table in terms of how you focus and marshal your resources as a company. You're going to have on the three sides businesses with users. They care about ease of use for being able to get them connected with, and put on the site. A lot of the cases in our area could be bloggers, essentially, that are out there that, don't have a lot of sophistication in some cases. They care about their brand, right? When users come to their site, they are relying on that person, that company that has their attention of funneling them and getting them the right information they need. And if you give them a crappy experience, it hurts their brand. And of course, they care about monetization, right? They're often out there, maybe they started off just because they wanted to put some better content out there, but they want their to be able to make money, essentially, so they could scale and grow their vision, expand on their mission that they're going and reaching out there. And then on the second side of the marketplace are businesses that want users as customers. They also care about how easy it is to go integrate in there, which is often APIs are an answer to that. They care about their brand integrity as well. They don't want to have users that were previously promised something different or aren't even relevant to the products that they want. And ultimately, what they're looking to do is acquire customers because that, in a sense, monetize what they're looking for. But there is a third element in there, and that is the users. And if you think about the elements of the user experience and how it actually factors into the overall business model when you find yourself in a three-sided marketplace example, all these things directly impact and feed into what your two sides of the business care about. User experience, which drives conversion, which drives user satisfaction out into the organization. What does it actually mean when you give them an equal seat at the table, when you give an equal focus to the end users that are actually going to be using your products? And by the way, this, even if you're finding yourself in one of these situations where you're purely an API platform company, this still applies. When you go design your end API endpoints, you are missing out if you aren't thinking through what kind of user experiences this can power. How do we really push the needle in terms of what that could actually be done? And so, just to give you an example of some of those areas where you need to go out there, push those kind of things out, first and foremost, OKRs, or even those are the most common way of doing this. There's KPIs, there's a bunch of other ways to do this, but you need to make user satisfaction, in a broad sense of the word, one of those key focus areas of what your company focuses on. So in the case of OKRs, they usually say do 3 to 5 company level OKRs and then have a tree of those trickling down. You need to have one of those first and foremost to be able to make sure that people realize this is one of the prime areas you need to focus on and execute as a company if you're going to achieve your mission. You'll find when you start doing key results that stem from user satisfaction that it actually becomes one of the most solidest leading indicators and not lagging indicators to the health of your business. If you consistently go out there and provide the users that are touching your platform at the edges with great user experiences, that is going to bring trickle-down effects to your partners going, wow, my users are actually really happy I offered this experience to them on the site, which is in turn going to make them happier because it improves their brand impression. When you go out there and improve the overall conversion rate or the efficiency of the engine that you're providing in the middle of this marketplace, that means that in our case, for instance, supply partners are going to get paid out a lot more. It means that they don't have to, the demand side, the people with the financial products aren't going to have to pay as much to be able to get those users into their site. And they're going to, and they're convert really strongly as well. And so a lot of good reciprocal effects that come out of that. Another area is org structure. If you take a look at your organization and you ask yourselves, do we have people that are dedicated and focused with clear accountability and resources to do so, to be able to impact this objective, this user satisfaction, giving the user an equal seat at the table? That's essentially the biggest differentiator between actually being able to execute. So they're not constantly in situations where they're like, oh, do we make one of our partners on either side of the marketplace happy, or do we make our users happy? Go ahead and dedicate resources to that. Make sure that people are accountable for driving user satisfaction throughout the organization, and you'll find success follows. Third, strategy. User experience is a key differentiator with the competition. It even, having gone and actually cared about the user, the experience that they have in going out there, it's one of the most valuable tools we have when we go out and try to acquire new customers and partners in our site. There's ways to develop, to improve the user experience on touch points outside of your own direct control. What we actually do on our side is we use, and I'll get to this in a minute, various technical tools and things to be able to push out to the top of the user journey and funnel through one of the sides of the B2B marketplace, but also through the other side where they funnel out and we land them to be able to go complete their acquisition of that financial product. We actually bring to the table, with the benefit of scale, user analytics, best practices, case studies to our various partners on both sides so that we care as a team, both sides of this partnership, that our users are getting the best possible experience. And in doing so, they are being the best companies that they can, which brings brand affinity and really provides a great user experience. Here are some of the tools when it comes to strategy that we're using at Even to be able to go in and make sure that that happens. Embeds. which is a little snippet of HTML code that our supply partners can go and embed on their websites, these media sites, these applications that are out there where they have users. They can go provide these out there, and it's very easy for them, so it's a great starting point to be able to go see what we can provide. And potentially they're small enough where they don't have enough time, resources, capabilities to be able to go provide that great experience that they would necessarily with an API. And so we empower them to start off that way. Typically, once they see how effective things are and how we're driving way stronger monetization and user experiences, they're like, what can we do to get even better? And that's where we go and say we have an API. You have the ability to fully skin an experience, have it labeled however you want on the site, to be able to go in and experiment with different flows through your user, to be able to go and improve the conversion overall, which brings satisfaction to the users and overall greater monetization. It's interesting that the API ends up driving the best monetization on our platform. A lot of that reason is because of that thing I was talking about before, where you're fundamentally reaching through to that end experience that you have your customer on all edges of the funnel. We're going in there and we're saying, even though we're on the middle, we're going to go reach out, start there, and you can make calls right up front to be able to say, hey, this is a user in this zip code. Maybe they have interest in this type of product. Maybe they have this kind of credit score. And we're able to just take a lot of the other potential offers and stuff and remove that from the equation. And this could all be interactive through these API calls to be able to get into the system. And we even do cases where we do custom stuff for certain partners as well. Not nearly as interesting from a technical perspective, but nonetheless, we're flexible at whatever we have to do to be able to get our users' experience, even in areas we don't control, as strong as possible. I'd like to walk through an example of this actually happening. This is the Penny Hoarder. It's one of the leading financial media sites out there. 17 million monthly visitors that come through their site. They've gone and experimented and tried everything with regards to monetization on their platform. And they've found our solution to be the most effective. We start off with a article that they write, quality content, answering things that various users want to go solve. They come across it and they offer them a link that goes and opens up a ability for them to search, kind of like a kayak type experience, to be able to go find, in this case, the personal loan that makes the most sense for the user at hand. What's interesting here is we've been a partner with the Penny Hoarder for a while. They've gone and experimented with lots of ways to do this. We actually let our partners fully white label our solution if they want to, but they've actually found that in a co-branded experience with us, using our consumer brand Fiona, that they're able to go in and say, listen, we're vouching for this partner that we're using to help connect you with a product that makes sense. They're providing a quality user experience, just like we always promise you. And they're upfront that they're even gonna, if you find the product that you're looking for and acquire, we're gonna make a little money off it. But you wanna know what? It's better than one of those clickbait ads that they're gonna see on the site. It's better than saying, get a 3% interest rate to somebody with bad credit that's got to go through a lot of hoops only to find out they're not qualified and get rejected for the application. And furthermore, and at least in our industry, and this is true of a lot of B2B plays, we have a lot of compliance issues or compliance things that we have to focus on in the financial industry, and we take care of that for them as well, which is very advantageous. So they offer that nice, clean click-through through these various pages to be able to then go acquire the product that they want and create a lot of value together. And fundamentally, what that means is that when you focus on users, both in terms of the focus of your company and KPIs and in the experience, all sides win. All sides create value. So ask yourselves, right now, if you're one of those people that raise their hands that think they're in a three-sided marketplace, if you're actually applying that type of focus area to be able to execute as best as you can out in the industry. Is there any questions out in the audience? Yes. For sure. So the question was, how does Even compare to Yodlee, which has APIs out into various systems that are out there? So Yodlee is all about connecting to various bank accounts. It's kind of similar to like a Plaid, which I could consider a very strong player in that space. We by no means compete with them. We're focused on getting users that are looking for a financial product to the product that they want. Yodlee's focused on connecting all the various bank account data, credit card data, all that information, pulling it together, and then providing it to the other side of their marketplace, which is applications and websites that want that information in there. So that where there is similarities between what Even's doing and them is that we saw a case where everybody that wanted to go and connect to all these various banks to be able to drive users to it to monetize their traffic, they all had to individually connect to each of those individual partners, which is expensive, takes a lot of time to be able to go do, and ultimately you don't connect to as many people as you want to associated with it. And similar to that, Even Financial is also solving for that particular aspect that we have out there. But really, we're not in any way, competitive solutions, both in the financial space, I suppose, but that's about it. Any other questions out in the crowd? Back there, was that one? Nope. All right. Thank you so much. Have a great day.